So for your presentations, what I would suggest you guys do is get together with your group, and then you use whatever capture method you need to record the voiceover for the slide. And then you guys are going to submit that all to the online tab for Blackboard for your group presentation.
Do we all need to submit that, or
You can just submit the one for your group.
Okay.
But you obviously make sure that you still have all of those elements up there. You can see the example presentation up there for kind of an idea of how to make sure you've done it well.
Okay.
What other questions do you guys got that I can field this morning? Okay, go over the study guide questions. Yes, there's a study guide. You guys should download it and work your way through it. Oh, come on, Kylie, you know that. So what are the ways that we effectively produce force through our muscles and our connective tissue? Nope. Okay, so good. Now you guys are asking questions. Now, remember, Kylie, we've got the parallel elastic component and the contractile component. So remember, you're getting a certain amount of force that's produced by tension, not compression. That's going to allow us to obviously produce some more force. Now you can take advantage of some compression force, but that's going to be typically from the antagonist muscle group. And that's only going to be when that agonist muscle group is usually in its greatest lengthened position. Okay. So come all the way down to lab 6. There's the video of the gentleman standing on the force plate with his eyes closed. You're going to watch the video, and then we're going to have, at the end, the camera is going to show you guys all of these metrics. You need to figure out, obviously, what's the biggest difference between the amount of force going into the ground with his left foot to his right foot. Figure out what is the average difference, so the mean weight on the one force plate compared to the mean weight on the other, which side of the body that obviously was favored throughout the most of this. And then sway is looking at the min to max. So that's effectively how much do we naturally go back left and to the right over that period of time. That's sway. Largest difference is then the greatest amount that's on one side compared to the other. And then average is just how much do we typically favor one side of the body over the other. Anytime, Jordan.
Didn't you tell us at the beginning of the semester that our presentations were going to be graded based on like our individual joints? So if like 2 people did one joint, then we would get a grade for our joint instead of everybody getting the same grade?
Bingo.
Okay.
Getting a grade for what they did, not what everybody else did.
Okay.
So that's why you want somebody in your group to effectively have not done their job, because it's like standing next to your unattractive friend at the bar back when you could speak out in public. You look that much better while you're standing next to them.
Okay. And since like the girl in our group, she's like the expert in our movement, so could we just like look up a novice person for our pictures? Because I mean, she's the expert, so I don't know. would it be okay just to Google like novice
Well, remember, you
pictures?
want pictures, you want videos. And what is your guys' exercise?
We're doing a volleyball bump.
Okay. You guys could probably just have one of you guys try to do that in your backyard.
Okay.
Got a family member, you can have them kind of toss it. But remember, yeah, still trying to get that video from multiple angles. And then
Okay.
that's what you guys are going to go ahead and use.
And I'm like kind of basing it off of the knee sweep example. So do we need to like talk about the expert and novice during our joints? Because that's like kind of what that group did.
Exactly. For your presentation, you're just showing effectively the basics of what's going on with the movement, and then effectively what are the key differences between the novice and the expert.
Okay.
Your paper is the one where you're going to go into all the details with the numbers as far as the torque, the angular velocity, the acceleration.
So how would we do that if we didn't get a chance? I actually emailed you about it, but if we didn't get a chance to measure all of the stuff out, I guess we would just have to ask her for her like measurements and.
Well, and that's where you guys are going to use the other presentation that I've got up there, where you're going to base it on center of mass information, and you'll use that reference in your paper.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and open up another old presentation, because this also is online that you guys can look up and use what you need to.
Is it under course documents?
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
effectively this reference right here. Notice adjustments to Zatskorsky and Celiano's segment inertial parameters.
Okay.
And so you're going to be able to just ballpark how much each of those areas of the body were probably going to weigh. And then also what was the length of
Right.
based upon, you're still going to need the height for the person. And then obviously their body weight. But
Okay.
it's none of this stuff I expected to be perfect, but it said that you guys are applying effectively the logic to
Okay.
working your way through in a way that makes sense.
Gotcha.
Dr. Lane, I had a question about this, almost like the same thing. How can I get? Is it okay, like if I look up like a bad tug or what? Because like I really don't want to throw like a bad tug.
Yeah, that's understandable. If you can find a video, once again, that's giving you, all of those angles overhead, from the left, from the right. If I were you, I would contact John and ask him to do it for you, and have him get his girlfriend to video it from a couple different angles.
And have John as
Have him throw a bad tuck, because we know he can goof around on purpose.
Yeah.
And land in a lot of ways that, no offense, you might not be at that level yet, and that's okay.
Yeah, I'd rather just throw good tugs.
Exactly. So, you can do a good tuck, but then, see if you can ask him or ask Jacob, because, both of them, obviously, throwing standing fulls, they can kind of screw around and throw bad tucks just for their own entertainment.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Anytime. So what other questions can I answer for you guys?
Is there a limit on how many sources we need to have in our group paper?
No, use as many as you like.
Okay.
Just make sure you cite appropriately and everything else. I'm not really a massive stickler for one citation style over the other. The key is that you're just using consistently the same citation method.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, there's not a limit to it. I know it can be a little daunting because you guys are used to like, this paper must be 300 words. This must be this long. Key is look at the rubric, make sure you've answered each of those points thoroughly, and however long that took you, that's how long it took you. Now, with references, make sure you're using peer-reviewed references. And obviously you can also use textbooks. But if you're using, joebobsblog.com, that's not where I want you guys to be basing this off of. So, any other questions, comments, concerns today?
When is the last exam?
Last exam is going to be open for you guys throughout the entirety of finals week. Same situation, take it as an individual, take it as a group. And it is going to be open effectively, probably just gonna have it open pretty much throughout the entire week, and both exams are gonna close like they would for the class anyways by 10 a.m. on Thursday of finals week.
Thank you.
Anytime. Norbert is, I guess, really enjoying the flavor of his paw this morning because he's been licking it consistently for this entire time. Anything else, guys? Anything else you guys want to talk about, review? Like I said, this is your review for the final. We can go as long as you guys want. Well, till 10:45 before I got to get ready for the next Zoom lecture of me, mostly talking to myself. I even dressed up for you guys this morning to hopefully bring a little entertainment to your day. It doesn't matter. No one cares.
Was there a PowerPoint slide? I was trying to go through it that tells like what exactly the components of skeletal muscle are.
So let's see here.
It's just one of the study guide questions. I was trying to do it when we went over it that day, but I don't know if I could find it or not.
Right there.
Oh, okay. So will the math on the final, would that be like the drag equation?
The drag equation isn't really going to make an appearance, more or less just having it that you guys can logically work it your way through it. So
Okay.
anything else, you guys have your equation sheet. Let's be honest, you guys are doing this at home, so you really have every dang thing you've had the entire semester to help you out. So
Mhm.
it's like anything else. All we're trying to do is follow the units and make sure that we are paying attention to what the units mean, and making sure that we're doing our math correctly. As long as you guys are doing those things, you're going to be fine. Yeah, I mean, there'll be questions that are a little bit more difficult. It is a final exam. It is cumulative. And it's looking to make sure that you guys can apply a number of things that you guys have learned in the class, along with seeing a number of questions that you've already seen before. So the big key with it is, like anything else, making sure that you thoroughly read the question, making sure that you're answering what is specifically asked, and then moving on to the next one. The issues that I have with just my exams in general is especially on like any short answers, which obviously aren't many, but I put a couple on there, is they only answer one part of the short answer. And it's a 2-part or a 3-part short answer question. And so it's like, well, I guess they got that part right. So they get half credit, or they get 1/3 of the potential points. And that's, if it's a 10-point question, like, boy, howdy, that's quite the quick little immediate deduction to the grade. So, making sure you stay on top of that, obviously work your way through the study guide. And are there any other questions from there you would like me to field and kind of break down a little more thoroughly?
Could you explain? I know that extension is the safest place for the spine to be in for rotation, but would the most dangerous be like just sitting up normally?
For rotation?
Yeah, it's one of the questions. I knew that the safest place is extension, so
Yeah.
I just thought the most dangerous would be normal.
Okay, so extension is just standing up normally.
Oh, okay.
Hyperextension is when we're going back. Okay, this is arguably going to be a little bit safer than flexion. Flexion is the most dangerous position to be in for spinal rotation.
Okay.
Yeah. So, speaking of how smart I am, seriously, no one finds the Superman onesie at least just slightly entertaining? I got this as a gift because Lord knows I never buy my own clothes.
I'm a fan.
Thank you, Tyler. I appreciate that. The only thing is, like, it's legitimately like welcome to American clothing. It's tight on the chest but loose in the gut, but whatever. Yesterday I was very smart in that I was very bored after teaching and grading and everything else online for too many hours. I decided to mow the lawn wearing the weight vest that we have in the lab, the 80-pounder. Speaking of biomechanics, even with relatively good posture, today traps are not too bad, but my low back is actually a bit sore from it because it turns out even with just that slight bent position, because I have a push mower, which means you have to push it yourself the entire time to get the blades to spin so it'll cut. I am a bit sore because it turns out I'm used to my upper body that usually, I weigh about 210, adding on an 80-pound weight vest, and now it's me walking around at 290 pounds, and it turns out I probably shouldn't weigh 290 pounds because that was really tiring for my body, specifically if I decided to just pack all that weight in on the torso. Because it also is part of the lever arm issue because it sits relatively high. So, yeah, that was special. Oh boy, makes me think back to the old days, back when we could still be on campus. I don't know if I told you guys, but we got that weight vest this semester for doing some load carriage work. Our intern, her name's Kelsey. After Tyler and I, Tyler Sutton, my GA, both put it on and wore it and walked around a little bit, and we're like, wow, this thing's exhausting. Kelsey decided that she wanted to wear it. Kelsey is a 100-pound, 5-foot tall female. We had to actually put the weight vest on her because nothing against her, but she's not strong enough to pick up 80 pounds from the side, put it over her head, and then set it down. She made the poor choice of sitting down on one of the chairs in the lab because we were working with the subject, and once again, she was wearing the weight vest. My God, watching her trying to get out of that chair wearing that weight vest was the high point of that week. I mean, it was legitimate maximal effort for her to try to stand up wearing an 80-pound weight vest on top of her own body weight. She had actually put her hands on her legs. It was amazing. But turns out she's not used to walking around at a body weight closer to like 180, 190 pounds, and specifically all through the upper body. So it's crazy how much just adding a little bit of extra mass to the human body can really throw you off. Well, hopefully I mildly entertained a couple of you guys. No, seriously, no other questions? Nothing else you guys want to talk about? Could you show us how to work number 1 on the study guide? Okay, let me find the study guide. Okay. So, Cameron, is what you're seeing on my computer the same basic one? Okay, cool. So let's go ahead. So if you look at this drag equation, drag increases by a factor of 1. Okay? If we're talking about an object that's moving, the coefficient's not changing, the density's not changing, and the reference area is probably also not changing. So now what do you think is going to happen to velocity?
Is it just going to increase by 1?
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the square root of 1. Just notice this velocity squared.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Lift is the force that is lifting you up. So specifically, when we're talking about objects going through both, fluids, so it's going to be liquids or gases, if they're moving at a high enough velocity, the natural drag that's occurring is causing both, as the air goes over it, part of it to be pushed under, part of it to be pushed above. So if we have like a wing where it's flatter, it's going to go through and it's going to disturb the air in a way that it's going to be pushing more of it underneath, which in turn is going to be lifting the object up as it goes through the air. What other questions would you guys go ahead and talk your way through?
What does the Magnus Effect do?
Okay, Tyler, either type that out again or let me answer this and say it again because it was too quiet for me to understand.
Okay.
So with the Magnus effect, remember, we're looking at the overall influence of effectively whatever rotation we're putting on the object is going to cause it to curve. So we use the example of like a curveball in baseball. So those seams are rotating, and the seams are actually pushing air down to the side, up, and then to the side, specifically if you're a left-handed person throwing the curveball. So what that means is as the lefty throws a curveball, from their perspective, watching that ball go away from them, there is higher pressure pushing down on the left side of the ball and less pressure underneath the ball on the right side. And so that's actually going to cause that ball to drop to the right and down as it travels through space because of that spiraling effect. So the Magnus effect is when we're looking at, once again, all of those influencing together and how that's going to influence our trajectory, especially when we're talking about ball sports. So does that answer your question, Kylie?
Yes.
All right, Tyler, what you got for me, bud?
I just had a question about the final exam. Is it going to be larger than our other exams, or is it about the same size with just mixed questions throughout the semester?
I think it's gonna be about the same size. I'm still tinkering with it a little bit. I haven't finally made all of my decisions as what's going on. As you can tell, you've got a potential option of 55 questions, so figure you're going to have some time. Any other questions you guys want me to go and work through? As my dog drinks water like he's never had water before in his life. Okay, guys, well, seeing as how we've got a lot of silence going on, that's okay. We'll go ahead and call it a morning. I hope you guys are okay with only having had to put up with me for about half an hour. Now, next week, obviously your presentations are gonna be due. I'm gonna put those online. Now, each of you guys is gonna be in charge of effectively judging another individual's presentation, and we're gonna effectively kind of put up a discussion board for that. And guys, it's meant to be constructive criticism. Now, in reality, I'm probably just going to have you guys email each other or talk to each other on the phone, because let's be honest, text can come across pretty rough. And instead, we're just looking for ways that we could have maybe explained the information better, how we could have maybe presented better, what we could have done differently with our tone. Don't be afraid to do multiple takes and multiple tries of your presentation. Make sure you listen to it before you submit it, so that way you've got an idea of obviously how it sounds, how it comes across. Was your microphone too quiet or too loud? And from there, make sure you guys get those papers in. And then really these meetings for the next, I guess, effectively, 2 weeks, we're just going to go ahead and be reviewing whatever you guys want to review for the exam. And yeah, then you guys are going to have your final and be done with me. You guys know about the extra credit opportunities for changing up or linking over exercises in that index. Along with, you guys can go ahead and be doing the breaking down different scenes from movies if you're so inclined. So any other questions, comments, concerns? Yeah, survey's still running, never stopped. Never stopped. I will be entering that extra credit during finals week. So, any other questions, comments, concerns? Bailey, Celia, Jessica, and yeah, Sammy, any questions since you guys have been a little quiet? I like your consistency, Sam. All right. Well, good stuff, guys. Stay safe out there. Miss seeing you guys in person. Do yourselves a favor and go through that study guide, and then we will go ahead and just keep working our way through any questions you guys have and any other just concepts that we want to go a little bit deeper in. You saw the PowerPoint slides I had in the background initially called Thinking in Units. I'm just going to record a little video for both now and the future to help with folks when they're trying to logic their way through what all these things mean. So be safe, guys. Miss seeing you guys in person. And yeah, talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.